QuickBooks. Good morning. Welcome to Max Fosh Towers. Should I show you around? Welcome to the office. This entire space isn't my office. I work in and amongst various other companies who are all very business, doing some very important business. This is the communal area. We've got a microwave, we've got a sink, we've got everything, baby. It feels like I'm trying to sell this space here rather than tell you that I use it. I'm not an estate agent, I promise. I spend very little of my time in here. But let's go to the actual office. Security is absolutely paramount. There you go. I first got into this building in December 2022. The reason I chose this area is because I live relatively close and I was doing a lot of my work just out of my flat from my kitchen. It wasn't very conducive to a healthy mind, let's just say. I wasn't really differentiating when work was and when home was. So I was kind of working all the time. I was feeling very burnt out. So I actually went, my first ever office was this office right here. First space that I moved into about 2.5, nearly 3 years ago now. It was amazing. It literally just changed my, opinion on what it meant to be a YouTuber, what it meant to run a business, because suddenly I had a place to go to work, to do my work, and then go home and leave everything, all of the baggage and all the stuff at work. So when it was just me and one other employee called Aziz, my first employee, my first colleague, we were in this space. The main thing I loved about this space is the view is brilliant. We're on the top floor here in this building. I'm not gonna tell you which floor because you're gonna find out. I love this space because the view out the floor, damn it. It gets a lot of light, so in the summer you kind of come to work when it's light and you leave when it's light. Winter, very different story. This was suddenly feel like going a step up when it came to the kind of evolution of the business, and it's genuinely the best decision I've ever made is moving into this office. I've made my first video in September 2017, and for the first 2.5 years, or maybe definitely 2 years, I didn't make a single penny. I first made my first penny from YouTube in 2019. I then worked kind of by myself until the end of 2021, so 2 years later, and then Aziz joined the team in November 2021. From there, we've now got a full-time team of 4 and a part-time of 2 more. Anyway, should I show you the rest of the office? Welcome to the office. This is the office. This is where Max Fosh Towers operates from. We have been here for 9 months. We've got the team who are here, who all do kind of different jobs. Editor, a producer, kind of creative director, and writer, and also editor, so everyone's kind of working together. I sit here, mainly because I want the best view, and so the team can't see what I'm doing on my laptop when I play Candy Crush or watch the cricket. I'm gonna start over here. This is the motherboard. This is the most important part of the business, this whiteboard. Some of it is blurry for you, and there's a reason why it's blurry, because it's got upcoming videos that we don't want you to see. This is the shoot calendar. So this calendar shows exactly what we're doing and when. Often it moves around. Shorts is a very, very important part of the business, the company, all of my platforms. Short form, we always think is kind of like the billboard for your content. It's great for discovery, but you want to try and convert people from short form into long form. So we cut down all of our long form videos into shorts, leaving sometimes a bit of an open-ended question as to what happens, sometimes telling the whole story, but we like to showcase it as a bit of a billboard for what we do. I'm also on the new season of Inside on Netflix with the Sidemen, and so this was a bit of a strategy that we had for what content I was going to be making when the series comes out. When you're watching this, it will already be out. And then over here, this looks a bit of a mess, but it genuinely does imply a lot and help us a lot with what we make. These are the non-negotiables when it comes to coming up with a video idea. We've got to immediately know what the title is, what the thumbnail is, what the various different scenes are, and we often talk about the flying car. The flying car came from an idea that one of our kind of writers, Ed, talks about, which is if you go to a show of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and the car doesn't fly, you feel very shortchanged as an audience member. So our flying car is something that we have in every single video that we need to make sure that we have, so the audience feels satiated and they feel like they have, you know, got something that they were happy with. And then how long is it going to take to make? How big is the budget? Then over here we have our most important metric, which is our moles out of 5. Our producer Molly does a fantastic job here at Max Fosh Towers, but there are some videos which cause her to look like this and some videos that cause her to look like this. So we often then get Molly to put what sunshine she is on the moles out of 5. The reason I love this whiteboard is because it's very visual. I'm a very visual person, and the team, we're in the office Monday to Friday, 10 till 6. I like the idea that we often will come and sit and look at the whiteboard and discuss things that are in front of us. My producer Molly definitely does use Notion in order to make sure that things are as efficient as possible, but I very much leave her to get on with that side of things. I slightly despair at having another tab or another bookmark for another app or website in order to do things. We will come up with a kernel of an idea 6 months before. It will sit on the board just as a word, and you never know, at any point someone in the team could kind of look at it and like, have we thought about this? To give you an idea, we made a video recently where I stole my friend's car and entered it into a demolition derby. That idea came from the word steal a car, was just on this board for months and months and months. It wasn't until a friend of mine was talking about how his brother was kind of like making fun of him for not being able to drive. I suddenly put 2 and 2 together and were like, hold on, this could work really, really well. And then what someone in the team mentioned, why don't we enter it into a demolition derby? That kind of shows how it was on the board for a long, long time. It was percolating in all our minds for a long, long time, and it wasn't until we had kind of a trigger point that we kind of made it into something a little bit bigger, and we were able to make a YouTube video out of it. Go watch that video, it's one of my favorites. From the whiteboard into our Hall of Fame. This serves no purpose for the business other than a fun little reminder of videos that we have made. We like to try and keep a trinket or a memento from every single video that we have made and put onto the channel. Everything here reflects that. This twin birthday card was given to me by the woman who was born in the same hospital as me on the same day. This is the tasting menu for when I served a grandmother's food back to her in a fancy restaurant. This is one of the genuine bits of the Welcome to Luton sign, some of the tarpaulin that we stamped Welcome to Luton on the front. This is my ticket for the International Security Convention when I snuck in as a man called Nick Everything. And this is my 100,000 follower plaque from the social media platform Bilibili, which is the Chinese version of YouTube. Funny story about that, I got scammed. A company said that they would set up a channel for me in China, and they would repurpose my videos and put them all up onto Bilibili. They did do that, but they did say that they would pay me all of the ad revenue, or half of the ad revenue from that channel. And so I think that I'm owed £15,000 by a Chinese company that suddenly disappeared. Yeah, I love having everything in one place. I love, you know, being surrounded by the things that we've made, and the biggest thing for me about, you know, this office and the way that this business has grown is having a central place where I can work from. So I very much moved everything from home, which is where I kind of started the channel, into here, because I want this place to be where I make content, where the YouTube channel runs from, and as soon as I leave this room, then I can kind of forget about it and leave it behind. Colin and Samir make a very good argument to talk about how kind of content creation is kind of an upside down pyramid. In normal business structures, you have a pyramid that's the right way up, and you've got the CEO at the top, and you can remove the CEO and replace the CEO and the business is absolutely fine. With YouTube, it's kind of reversed, where the creator is the one kind of focal point at the bottom, and if you remove the creator from that, then the business can't really operate, because you can't shoot, you can't, you know, ideate. With creators, it's very important that they're you know, healthy, they're happy, they're taking breaks, they are comfortable in what they're doing, and they're not burnt out, because otherwise, then if the whole kind of card, like tower of cards falls, then everything falls. This is the ideation spot. Every 2 weeks, we have 2 writers and friends of the channel who come in and we do ideation sessions. These ideation sessions are the most important part of the business, because the biggest bottleneck for me is coming up with new ideas. You know, the biggest question I always get is, how do you come up with your ideas? The answer is this wall. I won't go into too much detail about how I come up with my ideas, because I do want to keep the secret sauce relatively secret, but the best way to think about it is we take visuals first. We take what do we think is a very funny visual, or something that, you know, will look good on a YouTube video. To give you an idea, Max in prosthetics. This was an idea that we had, which was just get Max in prosthetics, and then from there we will do 5-minute blitz sessions where everybody in the team will come up with as many ideas as they can, surrounding the subject of Max in prosthetics. Once we've done that, we will discuss them. If there's any, we will then rate them, all of those ideas, with little dots, and then they will go to this side of the wall. Now, this side of the wall is unfortunately going to be blurred for you guys because there are genuinely some ideas on here that we really, really want to make. I will give you one video idea. I added unnecessary wraps into hymns. The biggest issue that we have here is we don't know what the flying car is. We don't know what the landing point is. So that's kind of a video idea that we've got, but we're not 100% sure how we're going to finish it. If the ideas get onto here, that means that they're pretty good to get going in terms of the production. So then producer Molly will take 3 or 4 of these and over the course of a week put together a little pitch deck of this is how possible it is, this is how expensive it is, this is how long it's going to take. And then from there, I will then have all the information that I need in order to greenlight an idea. Once the video has been greenlit, it then goes out to brands in order to sell the ad space within it. The money side of the business is very important, and if you want to know how the business plan of the YouTube channel actually works, click right here where I'll be going into the business plan of this YouTube channel. We try and make 20 to 25 videos a year, each being 10 to 15 minutes long. So that kind of equates to 4 hours of content a year of very structured storytelling that we put a lot of time into. Here's one. This office is very meritocratic. If I like a video and the rest of the team don't like a video, then I will very much take that on board and we won't make that video. But there's one that I've wanted to make, and maybe you guys can tell me whether you think this is a good idea or not. I legally got snakes on a plane. I think it's fun. The team aren't so sure, so please let me know in the comments as to whether you think that's a good idea or not. Let's sit soft for a second. This is the sofa. I don't often sit here. I do sometimes sit here if I'm kind of doing a bit to camera. I did a video where I technically died and I sat here and explained the concept of the video right here. So this kind of is for guests that we have over, very fancy execs. Most of the time I don't use it, although I do often play this, which is a backgammon set, which was given to me by YouTube themselves. They gave this to certain creators. They gave it to me last year. It's just a very, very nice, thoughtful gift. I think the most difficult thing scaling the business has been cash flow. Videos, by the kind of very nature, are quite unpredictable about whether we are able to achieve them or be able to shoot them successfully. And so as a result, like time frames and timelines for videos going out can often change, which means that you're often trying to stick to a period of time when brand is trying to market their product. And that can be within a quarter, it can be within a couple of weeks when they have a campaign going, which means that you're constantly shifting around these various different moving parts, but still wants to make content for the audience. As the team has grown, I need to make sure that there's cash flow in the business every month in order to pay them. I needed to make sure that I had enough of a runway. You never know with online stuff, you never know what's going to happen in my life, and I don't want to make sure that if I can't work for 6 months, I want to make sure that the team still have the opportunity to earn money and still have a job within that period of time. I think often with creators as well, when it comes to kind of growing a business, their role can change quite dramatically from being a creator from what it started with to then becoming more of a manager type. I've intended to keep the team as small as possible, and we all are creative amongst each other, but it means that I do have to do a bit of management, but I'm still very, very involved with the creative, which is just something that I wouldn't be able to do if I had employees of kind of like 20 or 25 people. Let me show you the rest of the office. If we spin around here, we have the pram that is basically a dumping ground for various different props. This pram actually cost me £3,000. This was made by a prop maker. It is a pram that is strong enough to have me sit in it, so it's reinforced with steel. And this is from a video where I snuck into the London Aquarium dressed as a baby. Although for legal reasons, they've asked me to say, please don't try that at home. This is where I record all of my VO.
This is me breaking into a YouTuber's house. The perfect game. This is an 8-year-old child that I have snuck into the most ruthless comedy night in the country.
The little booth, the voiceover is a very important part of the storyline, the storytelling in the videos, and so it allows the story to be propelled forwards, and that always happens in here. I then give the SD card straight to the team, they whack it in, and we can then watch it within 2 or 3 minutes. And then we get to the fun part, which is the costume department of Max Fosh Towers. These are the various different things that I have worn in videos. This is the state penitentiary prison outfit for when I made Prison Wine. This cowboy hat was from when I taught cowboys how to play polo. This is genuine from Dallas, Texas, so it's the real deal. go-karting suit here for when I entered a Formula One driver into a go-karting race. We've got this massive chicken outfit. This is from when I was doing the promo trailer for my stand-up tour, when I dressed as a chicken, whilst holding a chicken that was dressed like me. For example, if we're making a video and we need a costume of some kind, we'll kind of think, oh, hold on, we do have the various different constituent parts for that outfit, probably in, this is a 3-piece tailcoat. This is actually mine from home, I need to take home. And that's not a costume, that's just for weddings. In the corner, running out of space, we've got coffee corner. If you'd like a coffee, you're more than welcome to have one, or a tea. We do tea as well. I don't often sit and wear these at work, although I am kind of the go-to for my friends if they have any form of fancy dress party they need to go to. They will just message me saying, do you have a hot dog outfit? And I was like, so funny you should mention, because I actually do. This section of the office is basically just storage. The only thing that is interesting of note in here are these 2 brown parcels. Now, I spoke earlier about the ideation being incredibly important. These are bad ideas that we've had from January, February 25. This was summer 25 of bad ideas. And I kind of feel like there's either a podcast in here or like a second channel in these decks. They're the hundreds of post-it notes that we have discarded and decided they weren't good ideas, and we're never going to make them. There's hundreds and hundreds in here. I'm going to pull one out at random. What have we got? I had to trade a paper clip on the Silk Road. There you go. Not good. I built Rome in a day. I drove Route 66 whilst zigzagging. And then the one on the back is how many matches to fuel a hot air balloon. I literally killed people with kindness. I think that the police would have something to say about that. I held a funeral for my best mate's dating life. That's not bad. So that was just January and February 2025. As we move into the summer, I wonder whether there's any kind of more recent ones from the summer that were no good. Max delivers a baby. Max inside a giant vending machine. They are fine. They're not great, but they are fine. The reason that we keep these ideas is just for posterity and for you never know when these might be useful. I think because people are so interested in the ideas that I come up with, I think they'd also be interested in the ideas that we came up with, but we didn't decide to use. Often we won't greenlight ideas purely because we can't think of what the title is going to be. Titling and thumbnail is so important when it comes to YouTube. And so if there is a video that we think is very fun, but requires a lot of explanation, then we just kind of won't make it. One of the biggest things that we talk about when it comes to greenlighting an idea is the pub test. This is something that I got from Uber Butler, who's an incredible creator. He talks about like if you can go down to the pub and you can explain the idea or the video in one sentence and people can understand it, then you've got a good idea. Often with videos, I might think that's a fantastic idea, but I just don't think that it's snappy enough to sit as a one-off title. And then it gets confined to the bad ideas bin. The most important thing for the business is ideas. That is just, it is the most important thing. It's the reason why people watch the videos, and as soon as I run out of ideas, then the YouTube channel will be left in a crumbling heap. So ideas, ideas, ideas. I do a lot of communicating with fellow content creators on numerous things, whether that is how much they're being paid by brands, to also like, do you think this is a good idea, to improving an idea. You can go, I've got a few group chats with friends of mine. I mainly talk to Willany, Calix and Zach Alsop. Those three are like, I'll send them an idea and we have a group chat and be like yes or no, and we'll kind of like brainstorm from there. I was also part of a group called the Brain Trust that Ryan Trahan set up a couple of years ago, where every Thursday 10-15 creators would get together on a Zoom call. We would all bring something we would want to talk about for 15 minutes. So everyone had their 15-minute period of time, whether that was a new idea they wanted help with. So having the opportunity to speak to fellow creators was just so important. And that doesn't matter what size creator you are. You can be someone who's just starting out and you can be the biggest creator in the world. I know that Mr. Beast speaks regularly with other creators about whether to get their opinion. And so having a community and people around you who can tell you that's not a good idea, but can also tell you that's great, well done, that was a fantastic video, is super, super important. And to be fair, that brain trust and that community that I've got within the YouTube space is so important, not just for YouTube, but for any business, to have a community of individuals that you can talk to, you can bounce ideas off, is such a key to success, in my opinion. Finally, an important part of the office, or any space in London, which is outside space. It might look like I'm currently trapped within a 5-a-side goal. The reason is for the pigeons. You might be able to see there's a lot of pigeon shit all across this balcony. So last week they installed these nets, which stop the pigeons from getting in. Because the creator economy is still so new and it's in its infancy, we still don't know what the future of the creator economy is going to be. I think it's going to become more and more prevalent within the entertainment world. And so from my perspective, I don't hugely have any big, I need to hit X amount of million subscribers, or I need to hit X amount of revenue targets. For me, it's just building a sustainable company and a business that I can still have a job in 5 to 10 years. This is the best job in the world, and it's the reason why, you know, it's the most sought after job for kids in the UK. It probably would be Bo Burnham, which is a comedian who started on YouTube, who then went into comedy. I know it's you know, a bit of a soft boy thing to say, but he is just somebody who is very inspirational to me, probably the GOAT in comedy and, you know, the online world. But he's never going to do it, and I think that's, you know, I think that's fantastic. So yeah, that's the office. Any more questions? No? Good. Get out. Out.